folks. If you are on YouTube, you might notice something a little weird. I'm solo today. So Bob had some personal matters to attend to, and I couldn't make the event that popped up last minute. And as a result of that, I couldn't get anybody last minute that was available. So here we are. I'm going to be totally honest with you, it's probably going to be an abbreviated episode. But this is what we do here at Sarcasm Speaks. We adapt, right? And we move on. And we can't just not put out an episode for you guys, right? Because every Monday and every Thursday at 12 a.m., like clockwork, you can count on us. In the 4 years, roughly, I think we're closing in on our 4th year. I think we talked about this not too long ago. I think this December will end our 4th year. And once we get into 2023, it will be in our 5th year. So we haven't done it for 5 years, but we're coming up on entering our 5th year of doing it. So in that time, we've only missed one episode. It was one of the times we went away for one of the away Patriots games that we had done for basically every year except for this year, because there were so many weddings and so many other things going on. We just didn't do it this year. But we've only missed one. There's that one time. So we're coming up on, I think this is episode 398 that I'm recording right now with you guys. So in almost 400 episodes, there's only been one day where you thought we were going to put something out and nothing came. So we're going to avoid that again. Like I said, totally honest with you. It's not going to be 90 minutes of me just rambling, which I'm sure most of you are probably thrilled with. So we'll see how long it goes for, see how much shit I have to talk about, how much before I get bored of talking to myself. I've done this a couple times here and there throughout, some of these episodes. Bob has lost internet connection, or he drops off, or something goes wrong, right? And we lose him. I've certainly filibustered solo plenty of times before. But this is my first time from start to finish solo. So bear with me here. Again, I'm probably going to get real sick of hearing myself talk pretty quickly. But anyway, here we go. So I'm just going to lightly touch on some of the sports action that we had today, because why not, right? We're not specifically a sports show, but we do talk a lot about sports. First of all, let me give a shout out to mybookie.com. Use the promo code SarcasmPod when you sign up at mybookie.com to double your first deposit up to $1,000. So if you sign up, you use SarcasmPod, your first deposit is $300. They give you $300 for free. That's real simple. It's exactly what I just said for you. Also, while we're talking about sports and gambling, the weekly Sarcasm Speaks Pick'em Pool is open and always available to join. We run it weekly, and we also have a season-long pool, but I'm going to be honest with you. If you're just joining at this point in the season, you're probably not going to win the season-long pool unless you pick every single game correct from here on out. Which just isn't going to happen, unfortunately, because we talked about I have been on an absolute heater, and I'm hitting at 65%. So I can't even hit 100%. So, but nonetheless, the season long, whatever, it doesn't really matter to you, but you can still win the weekly, right? And you can still win multiple weeks. So basically the way it works out, well, not so much now because we're 6 weeks into the season. So what we did say before is if you play all season long and you only win 1 week, it basically pays for itself, right? But if you join now and join late and you win at least once at some point from here on through the rest of the season, you actually make money. because you're going to put less money into the pot over, 11 weeks versus 17 weeks or 18 weeks, however many weeks there are in the football season at this point. So there you go. You'll make out. So you can always still join. You reach out to us however you want, right? If you can find us on social media, the Instagram is Sarcasm Speaks Pod, Twitter is Sarcasm_speaks. Shoot us a message, send us a DM. We'll get you the information to get signed up for the weekly pick'em. It's against the spread, all games except for Thursday. So all games on Sundays and Mondays. We got tiebreakers in there. It's all great. I am still crushing. This week, I just pulled it up. We are going into Sunday Night Football, and I am tied for second place with Neil. Shout out to Neil. I don't think he listens to the show. And I think Anthony and Neil are tied for first, and then I am tied in second. So I have 111 points total on the season. The person in second place doesn't even have 100. So like that, I don't even know who the person is in second place right now. But I have 111 points on the season total again. The next person isn't even at 100. So I have a pretty commanding lead so far this year. And the trend has continued as far as me being able to pick games in the weekly pool and not be able to pick games on the ones I actually spend money on. Because as we are right now, I made 4 bets this week with actual dollars, and I am currently 0-3. I had the over 51 in the Arizona-Seattle game. That was a loss, very badly, because that game ended 19-9, not even close to 51. I had Jacksonville +2. They lost by a lot more than 2. They lost by 7, actually, to the Colts. And then I had what everyone probably thought was the lock of the week, and I bet Vegas made a ton of money off of this. I had Tampa Bay -8 against the Steelers, and the Steelers beat them outright, 20-18. The Buccaneers looked like absolute dog shit. So, like I said, I am 0-3. I have 1 bet left for today. It is the under 42 in the Sunday Night Football game, which is the Cowboys and the Eagles. We'll see how that goes. If I can reverse sweep and go 0-4 for the day, or I can go 1-3 and salvage a little bit, still be down. I think I'd still be down 2.3 units. So with the juice and all that stuff. So obviously not ideal there, but I have, like I said, I'm tied for second place right now for the week 6 pick'em. So I can't fucking catch a break. The funny thing is, so this week, as it stands right now, going into Sunday Night Football, there's 2 games left, right? There's the Dallas game and the Denver game, Sunday night, Monday night. I've picked, so what is that? How many games? 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 games to pick that I've picked on the spread so far for this weekly pick'em. I have gotten 4 of those incorrect. So 7 I got right, 4 of those are incorrect. The 4 that I got wrong were San Francisco, who lost the game. They were 5.5 point favorites. They lost outright. The Baltimore Ravens were 5-point favorites, and they lost outright to the Giants. And then the last 2, the other 2 that I got wrong in the pick'em, the Jacksonville Jaguars +2 and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers -8. So 50% of my losses in this week so far in the pick'em pool were actually ones that I put money on. So I know if you're a serial listener here, Bob and I have talked about this before. And he was like, wow, so you just bet on the games that you lose in the pick'em, I guess. And I was like, yeah, I think there's more to it. I did the whole analysis. I'm really bad at picking totals. A lot better at picking spreads, except this week. The only games I bet on for the spread were the ones that I lost actual money on, and I was incorrect in the pool. So you want to talk about being a complete asshole. Ahoy, here I am. So with that said, you can join. Get in. Maybe you can beat me in a week. I've only won 1 week so far. I've just been at the top every week. I think I tied in week 1 because we didn't have a complete tiebreaker package set in stone. We just had one tiebreaker, and then we all tied, and then we tied in the tiebreaker too. So, it is what it is there. But so yeah, join in on that. The Patriots game, it was interesting. I'm not going to spend too much time because I know we do have some listeners that are across the country. So, but most of our listeners are in New England. So, probably all Pats fans here. I think that the defense actually looks decent. We'll see when we play a legit team. If I can pull up their schedule really quickly, it looks like, yeah, so the Pats have beaten Cleveland, Detroit, Green Bay, and now at the time, I do want to be fair, right? Detroit, when we beat them, they had the number 1 offense in the NFL. Now I'm not going to take the time to go look at the defenses that they played against that allowed them to put up so many points. But the fact of the matter is, like, they were putting up more points than any other team in the NFL. They had a seemingly high-powered offense, and the Patriots defense kept them to a goose egg. So they scored 0 points there. Today, they kept Cleveland to 15 points. Now that's Jacoby Brissett. So, take that for what it's worth. They did a pretty good job at limiting Chubb and Hunt on the ground. I thought those were the defense played very, very well today, and it has been playing well. Now they lost to Green Bay 2 weeks ago, but it was a close game. It was a game that they were 9.5 point underdogs, and it took Green Bay to the end of the game to win that game. So they looked good there. The defense played relatively okay. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers, right? It's arguably one of, if not the most talented quarterback. Certainly not the most accomplished, obviously, but he might be, until Pat Mahomes finishes his career, the most talented quarterback to ever play the game. Kept him to 27 points, which is kind of high. But again, it happens. It's Aaron Rodgers there. They got blown out by Baltimore the week before that, 37 points to 26. They beat Pittsburgh early in the year, and then they got shellacked by Miami in week 1. So, those first 3 games are tough just because it's early in the season. You don't really know what the teams are. It's hard. I mean, I still think, well, actually, as it stands, I think the Patriots would beat the Dolphins if they played today, right? Because Tua's out and they were down to Skylar Thompson as their quarterback, and the Dolphins secondary is in rough shape right now. So, I think they would probably beat them. When all things are considered and everyone is healthy, I think Miami's still the better team. But you can only play who you play every week. And if they were to play this week, I think the Patriots would probably be favorites in that game. So that's there. I think I got Zappy fever. I'm interested to see what happens when Mac Jones is healthy. I think Mac will probably get put in to start when he's fully healthy. But I wouldn't be surprised if he had a short leash. If he comes back next week, who are we playing next week? So we're playing the Bears next week. So the other thing about this too, with this schedule, is it also kind of sets things up that like we don't have to rush Mac Jones back. So he's got that high ankle sprain. He's got the high ankle sprain that normally keeps people out. I think it's like 4 to 6 weeks. I think this is his third week. He was at practice this week. People were alluding he might play. He might, he might be out there. They might activate him, but just have him be a backup in an emergency situation. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case next week. I would be very surprised if they rushed him back and had him start against the Bears next week. It's a Monday night game, so you do get that extra day in there. So it's, it's just another day for his ankle to heal, but it's the Bears. So the Patriots, as it stands right now, with Bailey Zappi as their quarterback, are 7.5-point favorites over the Bears, which I am all over the Bears for that one. I don't know. I know they literally just beat the Browns today by, 17 points. But I don't think this New England team is good enough to beat a team by more than a touchdown in back-to-back weeks. I just don't. So did I already fuck that up? And they beat, yeah, they did. So they beat Detroit 29-0. And then this week they won 38-15. I don't know. It's hard to do in the NFL. And Chicago potentially looks like they may be turning a corner. They're actually starting to throw the ball. So they played Thursday night against the Commanders. They lost that game 12-7, but they actually threw the ball. They let Justin Fields play. He threw 27 passes. He was 14 of 27. So a 52% completion rate isn't fantastic, but they let him get more involved. He had 12 carries for 88 yards. So he had 88 rushing yards. He had 190 passing yards, a passing touchdown, and one interception. But, I don't know. I'll probably regret that, but I like the Bears getting 7.5 points for whatever reason there. So, but either way, like I said, you don't need to rush Mac Jones back for that game. I think Bailey Zappi can handle you there. So then you look at week 8, and that's at the Jets. So I think that's probably the spot that you want Mac to come back for. The Jets look pretty fucking good. They're 4-2. Their offense isn't great, but their defense looks pretty legit. Maybe their offense will figure it out in time. Maybe they won't. Who knows? But right now they're winning games with their defense. So they held Aaron Rodgers to, I think, 10 points or something like that in that offense. So they whooped the Packers today. So then after the Jets, you're home against the Colts. So, that's a potential tough game. Then you're in a bye week, week 10. So, and then you're home against the Jets. So yeah, I mean, I think shooting for week 8 for Mac Jones to come back is solid. That being said, if Mac Jones does come back in week 8, right? So you have week 8 is at the Jets, week 9 is home against the Colts, and then you're on a bye in week 10. So if Jones comes out and doesn't look that great against the Jets, right? Because they have a pretty good defense. And then you're like, okay, it's his first game back, whatever, we'll let it slide. And then he comes out week 9 and kind of struggles against the Colts, who have a pretty good they have a decent defense. They're not like otherworldly. I think last year they were very, very good. I don't think they're as good this year, but they're still solid. They're not a bad defense, at least. I think you go into that bye week and there's some questions, right? So if Matt comes back and he goes 1-1, if he, it doesn't matter, pick a game that he loses to, right? Like if you lose to the Jets and you beat the Colts, or you beat the Jets and you lose to the Colts, whatever, it doesn't matter. Mac Jones comes back and goes 1-1 going into the bye. I think there's going to be some legitimate discussion about coming out of the bye. Do you go back to Zappy? Because then you're home against the Jets for that game. And then the next week in week 12 is at Minnesota, and that's the night game on Thanksgiving. So then you're playing a legit team, right? Minnesota looks legit. They're 5-1 right now. Their offense is solid. Their defense is probably middle of the road. And then that's when things start to get tough. You have a stretch from week 12 on where you have the Vikings, then you have home against the Bills, and then you're in Arizona. And right now people are like, oh, Arizona, they suck. Yeah, right now they do, but they don't have DeAndre Hopkins or James Conner. So when DeAndre Hopkins comes back and they have a healthy receiving core with Hollywood Brown, so you give Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, and Rondale Moore, and a healthy James Conner, I think that offense is pretty good. Now their front seven and the defense is okay. Their secondary is absolute garbage trash. So, week 14, it's not an easy game, but it's not ridiculously hard either. Then in week 15, you're in Vegas, right? And over the last few years, the Patriots have not fared very well against Bill's former disciples or former assistant coaches, I should say. And that's Josh McDaniels, obviously, over there. So Vegas is 1-4 right now, but they don't feel like a 1-4 team. I think at least 2 of those losses were really close games. Then week 16, you're home against Cincinnati. That's a tough game. Defending Super Bowl champs, they look like they figured it out. The first 3 weeks of the season, they did not look good, but they look like they're probably going to have it figured out by then. They played very well today. They beat the Saints in New Orleans. Then week 17, you're home against Miami, who whooped your ass in week 1. And then week 18, you're in Buffalo. So when you come out of that bye, it's a tough end to the season. I certainly think the first half of the season was easier than the back half. Right? Because you played Pittsburgh, who sucks. They don't have a quarterback. You beat, Mitch Trubisky at the time. Now it's Kenny Pickett, who's a rookie. You had Detroit, which again, they were the number 1 offense, but they had the number 32 defense in the league. You kept them to 0 points. Okay. You played Cleveland with Jacoby Brissett. Now you're playing Chicago, which is a bad team. So that's all in the first half of the season. And then that second half, like I said, after that bye, you've got the Vikings, the Bills twice, the Cardinals, the Bengals, the Raiders, and the Dolphins again. So, it's going to be interesting where they're at in week 11 out of that bye. Right now they're 3-3. If they come out of the bye and they're 6-4, there's still a really good chance that they finish 7-9, 8 or no 8. It would be 8-9. There's a solid chance that even if they're 6-4, they still end up with a losing record, 8-9 or 9-8. I don't see this team getting 10 wins this year, barring injury, right? Like if Dalvin Cook goes down, if he gets hurt, or if Kirk Cousins gets hurt, then, obviously I like our chances a lot more in that Minnesota game. God forbid, obviously, right, if something happens to Josh Allen, the NFL themselves would be crying, but then I like the pass chances a lot more there, so there's obviously injuries are part of the game, right? But that's that there. That's my take on the Patriots. So I have no idea how long I've been going for because I forgot to time check myself. when I clicked go. So I'm going to talk about one more thing, and then I'm going to wrap it up, and we're going to go. We're going to get out of here. So we have, excuse me, we've got some world news on here, where we have some UK climate activists. I don't know if anyone has heard about this, that they went into an art gallery in France, maybe? No, I would assume it's the UK. It's in London. Yeah. So London's National Art Gallery. They went into this museum, this art gallery, and they threw tomato soup all over a painting by Vincent van Gogh. And then they glued their hands to the wall. So people, like, it said here, police officers came in and unglued their hands, and they were taken into custody, and minor damage was done to the painting's frame, but the work itself wasn't harmed. So I look at this like, what the fuck was the point here? Like, what are you doing? You went in and threw a can of tomato soup on Vincent van Gogh's painting of the sunflowers. Like, I don't know, but maybe I'm missing something here, and it could be, right? But what connection does Vincent van Gogh have to climate change? Was he like a known climate change denier? Like, did they even have climate change theory when he was painting? I think he was painting in the 1800s, maybe like the late 1800s, maybe early 1900s. I have no idea. When did Vincent van Gogh, when was he alive? Let's find out. Let's see if first of all, let's see if my internet can actually keep up. Yeah, he was alive from 1853 to 1890. So the late 1800s, like they probably didn't fucking have climate theory. Like, I just don't understand the intent behind here. Like, yeah, fuck Vincent van Gogh, it's climate change. I can't connect the dots here. I have no idea why they chose this painting. It's also of sunflowers, which is like natural. It's not like there was like a painting of like, I don't know, some like oil field, right? That's I don't know. These people are fucking stupid. Climate change people are fucking assholes. And activists in general basically are assholes here. So they can all get fucked. I got a couple other things. I know I said I was going to wrap this up, but I just saw this. I think it's funny. There is a Adderall shortage in the United States. The FDA announced that the shortage, a couple days ago, October 14th, they announced the shortage of Adderall. Said that there are alternative therapies available until the supply is replenished, and that patients should consult a doctor to explore their options. So this is funny, right? Because I think it's pretty well known across the board that Adderall is probably overprescribed, and now there's a shortage of it. So it's like, well, maybe did anyone ever think about finding out why the shortage is here? But, who am I? Okay, so I will wrap this up here. For my final thought, it's going to be a brief one. I'm going to give a shout out to the actor from Harry Potter. His name is Robbie Coltrane. He played Hagrid in the Harry Potter films. He died over the weekend. And it's pretty unfortunate for anyone that knows me. I'm a pretty avid Harry Potter fan, a Harry Pothead, if you will. And Robbie Coltrane was 72. Great actor across the board. If you don't know him from Harry Potter, you might know him from the mid-90s James Bond movies, because he played, what was his name? Valentin Tchaikovsky, I think, was his last name, but it was definitely Valentin something. I think it was Valentin Tchaikovsky in the Pierce Brosnan James Bond movies. So he was in a million things too. Robbie Coltrane was a decorated British actor. Let me see if I can find quickly what else he was in. Anything that would be of note. Is there like a known for? Apparently he was in the TV show Cracker. He was Dr. Edward Fitzgerald. Let's see, what else is he in? The last thing he did was Urban Myths, which came out. He played Orson Welles in the TV series in 2020. So it's been a while. He was in National Treasure. What? Oh, a TV series. They made that. So he's been in quite a bit over the years. And it's unfortunate, right, that he died over the weekend. It's more unfortunate that we didn't have him in our death pool. But hey, it is what it is. We suck at that. I put the wrong Harry Potter person. I put Maggie Smith, who was Professor McGonagall. I had her in my death pool this year. And it's Robbie Coltrane instead. Which, hey, there's still time, right? We still have a couple, 2.5 months left in the year. So we'll see. But tough blow for Harry Potter fans across the board there. So R.I.P. Robbie Coltrane. So that is going to do it for today's episode. Thank you for riding the train with me today as a brief little, Sarcasm Speaks Monday morning episode here as it drops at midnight on Monday. So stay tuned. I don't know when Bob will be back. He's, like I said, he's got to deal with some personal things. So I will, be waiting just like you all here to when he comes back. Again, this was a last minute thing. I didn't want to not have an episode for you all. I will work diligently to have someone with me on Tuesday for Thursday's episode, and so on and so forth here. Because like I said, I don't know when he'll be back, but he will be back. And we'll go from there. So again, thank you all. Shout out to grillyourassoff.com. Go to grillyourassoff.com and use our promo code SarcasmPod when you check out to save 15% off your entire order every single time you check out. If you buy stuff from them once a month, once a week, twice a year, it doesn't matter. Every time you check out and use the promo code SarcasmPod, you'll get 15% off your order. They are the best. I love Grill Your Ass Off. I use them almost every day. Already talked about my bookie. Shout out to them again. Thanks over there. Join the weekly pick'em again, like I said at the top of the show. You can get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. We're on Twitter at Sarcasm_Speaks. The Facebook page is Sarcasm Speaks. The website is Sarcasm Speaks. Go to the merch store, buy some merch, help us out, tell everybody you know about the show. And I think I covered all the bases. So until next time, good night, everybody.